Hey guys, so in February I made a video about my first PC build, which is actually the one that I have right here. Now I got a lot of comments on that video saying that you guys thought it was a great build, but I felt kind of bad because in the video it was a time lapse of me doing the actual build instead of showing you component by component. I don't know if you paused the video or what, but today I'm going to actually do a video so you guys can see in-depthly how I built this. This is a 7700K. Now I don't know, some people ask questions about other builds. I don't know anything about Ryzen. I don't know anything about any of the other CPUs builds like the X99 or anything like that. Right here I just have a Z270 motherboard. So I'm going to break it back down and then I'm going to rehook it all up. But once again, like I said, it's going to be slow so you guys can follow along. So let's go ahead and do that. Also, before I started, I just remembered, I also got a lot of comments that I don't have a static discharge bracelet or like on my ankle, because obviously static electricity is going to be bad when working with a computer. But I watched a lot of videos online, and I don't know if it's a 100% method that works, but they always talk about just touching the power shroud on the back. And like I said, I don't know if that method works 100%, but it's what I use, and so far I haven't had any issues with my PC. Alright, so I finally got everything out, and I'm going to use this time just to wipe everything down, clean it up, and then we will get back to the actual build. Now, other YouTubers have their own way they go about their build and ways they do their steps, whether it be RAM first, CPU, or whatever. One thing I did want to point out before we get started is that I left the water cooler mounting bracket on the back. It's not that hard to assemble, and I felt like you guys could figure it out. I didn't want to have to take it off just to put it back on in 2 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the CPU, and then we're going to move on to the RAM. Alright, so typically you wouldn't do this, but I forgot to take the thermal paste off, and I don't have more thermal paste, so I'm just going to leave it like this, and hopefully everything works out. But starting off, you're going to want to find your triangle right here on your CPU, and then you're going to want to locate that with the triangle right here on the shroud, and then match that, and just drop it in. Be careful not to touch the top of your CPU. You want to try and keep the surface as clean as possible. It's kind of pointless with me already having used thermal paste on the top, but all you gotta do is just drop it in. Once it's in, just kind of give it a wiggle test and just try and move it back and forth. If it doesn't move, you know it's seated. Go ahead and flip your latch down. Make sure that your prongs are seated underneath the screw right here and just wrench it down. It's gonna seem like there's a lot of tension on it. You're gonna feel like you might be breaking something, but don't worry about that. Just push and then make sure that this arm gets seated right underneath here. And boom, your CPU is installed. It's that easy. Alright, and I guess I didn't say it, well I did at the beginning of the video, but this is a Z270 motherboard, and this is a 7700K CPU right there. Alright, so now we're going to move on to the RAM. I have 2 sticks of 16GB RAM, which equals obviously 32. It's just the Vengeance LED. Now this is something I just found when uninstalling, but on the heat spread right here, this can come off, just like that. Now, I don't know what that does to the thermals by taking part of the heat spreader off, but I do like the idea of having more light. So I'm going to go ahead and install these like this. So all you got to do is read your manual for your motherboard. You're going to have 2 DIMM slots if you're using 2 that are going to be preferred first. If you're using 4, go ahead and fill R4 up. It doesn't matter. But so my motherboard says that I should use these 2 slots first when only dealing with 2 sticks. Now you want to first make sure that your little bridge right here lines up with the hole. So if I went in like that, you can see that the bridge does not match on each side. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it around. Make sure that you pull the tab back and just seat it right in there. So it's pretty easy. It's got these channels. It just guides right in. And once it's in, just go ahead and push down. Now it's going to feel like, once again, there's a lot of tension, but you'll know it's in once this thing pops back up. So go ahead and push, push, and boom, that's in. I'm going to go ahead, grab the other stick. And once again, I'm going to repeat. I took the top off of it. I'm going to make sure that the RAM is in the channels. It's in, the arm is back, and now if you got an arm on both sides, make sure you got the arm pulled down on both sides. I only have it up here. But once again, make sure it's in the channel, push down, and boom, snapped in. So good. Now before putting the motherboard in, we need to get your, I forgot the technical name, but I'm going to say the I/O shield. I think that's right, but we're going to take your I/O shield and we're going to put it in. Now this is really easy. This is just friction, so all you do is just put it in here. Just place it like so, and then just snap it right in. now the next step for me, since I'm using a liquid AIO, is to install my radiator. So I'm gonna go ahead and install my fans first. My fans are gonna install on the inside of the case. Some do it on the out. So I'm gonna place my fans in real quick. Grab my radiator with the pump. Just like that. All right. Now it takes these long screws and they're gonna come in from the front and they're gonna screw right into the radiator all the way through. So I'm gonna go ahead and install those right now. Oh, and see, I didn't pay enough attention right here. So when putting your fans in, you want your fans to pull air in. So you want the front facing towards the front, and it's gonna suck air into your case like that. I'm gonna go ahead and get my fan in there. All right, now let's go ahead and mount the radiator.
Every day.
All right, now I can't remember if my standoffs came with my case or not. If they don't, all you gotta do is just screw them into the right locations, but mine are already there, so I can go ahead and put my motherboard in. So this is real simple. Just get it down in here, line it up. And then put the holes over the standoff. There we go. All right, so now you're gonna go ahead and screw in your motherboard on each one of your motherboard mounting holes. One more thing before we get started. You're gonna want a magnetic screwdriver, so when you're putting your screws into your case, they stick just like that. Now, if you're like me and you don't have one, this isn't a magnetic screwdriver, but I was lucky enough to get the S340 case. So, well, not lucky, I bought it. But it comes with this magnet, so all you gotta do is just take your screwdriver and just rub it against the magnet like this, and that's how it just magnetizes your screwdriver, so your screws won't fall in. Alright, now I'm gonna go ahead and do my CPU cooler. If you buy the Kraken X62, it comes with a thermal paste already on the bottom. And that's why I have some on the CPU already and on the Kraken X62. Now I'm hoping, in an ideal situation, you're gonna wanna redo your thermal paste. That's not even a question. But like I said, I don't have any, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just reapply it, and hopefully the thermals work out. So this is really easy. Once you got your bracket in, and mind you, like I said, I already had mine done. All you gotta do is just go ahead and set this on top. And then it comes with some screws right here, and then go ahead and screw it down. Alright, so now it's time for the graphics card. Before installing your graphics card, you're gonna want to figure out which holes you're gonna need to remove in order for your graphics card. Now for mine, I know it's these two right here. It's gonna line up with the top of the tray, and then it uses these two. Some could use this first one up here, I don't know, depending on your setup, but so go ahead, remove these little thumb screws right here and take those plates out. And then, now this is real simple, just grab your graphics card, and just like before, make sure you press this down first so that the latch is open. I'm gonna go ahead and move my cords, get these out of the way. And just take your graphics card and slide it right in. And then once it clicks, it's in. Now, go ahead and replace your thumb screws. Now what I like to do, I have these reinforced metal sockets so it doesn't put too much sag and kind of warp the motherboard. But I like to make sure that it's kind of up so there's not too much tension sagging down on it. So push up a little bit and then go ahead and put your thumb screw in, locking it in that upper position like that. And like I was saying, that's just to prevent any GPU sag or anything like that. Screw one down, grab your other screw. Alright, now I do have this little thumb screw cover plate right here, so I'm gonna go ahead and screw that in quick too. Alright, now, so my last video, I guess I didn't cover this enough. Everyone asked about memory. So, in my original video, I had one SSD, and now I picked up another one, so I have two SSDs currently. And then everyone's like, well, you don't have any HHDs, any like the blue or the green HHDs. I've always had these though, so what these are just external HHDs, or external hard drives. I've removed the cover from them, and simply just strapped them in, and they work perfectly fine. They're 500 gigabytes a piece. Each SSD is 500 gigabytes a piece, so that gives my system a total of 200 gigabytes, and, 2 terabytes. Kind of sucks having so many drives. It would be nice to just have a 1 terabyte drive, but in order to save money, this is what I'm working with now. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna insert our SSDs and HHDs, and then we're gonna hook all of it up and we'll see if it boots. Alright, now, so for my memory, this case has quite a few nice options where it just has these little sliders right here, and you can just slide them into any area you want. So, well, that was on backwards, but it just slides right in. So, I like having one of these drives right here up in the front. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'll slide in from the, slides in that way. Okay, so I got one in the front. I like having my other Samsung right here, and then this is my other external hard drive. And that just slides in there like that. And then it just holds down with these thumb screws. So you go ahead and put each one in its respective area. Alright. I'm not going to screw them all in all the way though. I'm going to leave them just barely screwed in, because I still got to run the cords, and it's going to let me take them out if I need to hook up some cords in tricky areas. But there you go. Alright, now, so for mounting this external hard drive right here, now don't get confused, this is actually the bottom of the case right here, the top's down here. So I mount this thing right to the bottom. There's these screws up here. Actually, I can't show you. There's these screws up here that this thing screws into. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just flip it, place it up in here on the bottom of the case, and then go ahead and screw it in. Alright, I'm actually going to come back to this too, because I don't remember if I told you all the parts. So I already told you 7700K CPU. I told you it's a Z270 motherboard. Now right here we have a GTX 1080 Strix. Well, it's NVIDIA, but it's, like I said, it's a GTX 1080 from Strix. Asus Strix. Republic of Gamers. This is a Kraken X62 from Nzxt. This whole case is from Nzxt. This is the S340 Elite case. And another thing that I'm going to get to that I also forgot to do is put in my 2 fans. So there's going to be a fan that goes in the back here, and then a fan that goes on the top. Oh, and then also, like I was saying, the 32 gigabyte RAM from Corsair. So now we're going to do the fans. So I got these fans right here. These are from Corsair. I like them more than the stock fans because they have LEDs all the way around it. So it's pretty self-explanatory. Just face the fans the way you want to eject the air. Like I said, this is the front, so it goes from front to back. So I'm going to go ahead and place this fan up here like this. And then I'll go ahead and place this fan right here just like this. Alright, so this is where it's going to get hard for me to see and hard for you to see, but right here I got my HD audio, so I'm going to go ahead and plug my audio in. And for me, that's going to plug in right here. Push it right on. It might take a bit of force, don't worry about it too much. But there we go. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and get the USBs plugged up, so we're right here. This one's gonna plug in right here. Yep, just like that. Once again, might take a little bit of force. There we go, she locked right in. Alright, so right here I have my power LEDs and my power switch. So there's a little text down here, I don't know if you can read it, but it says power LEDs plus, and then minus. And then right next to that is the power LED switch. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug all of these in. Yeah, I'm gonna unplug these quick. I'm gonna plug in my HHD LED. Wait, which side's positive? That's a good thing. Oh yeah, it doesn't. Little triangle there, positive, positive. There we go. Alright, plug my power switch and LED back in. Next to that is the negative. And the positive. Alright, so those are all plugged in. And then right here, I have the USB 2, and that's actually going to be right over here. Alright, so there we go. You can pull your cords back out of here. So let me do that. Alright, so there we go. You got your HHD audio on the bottom, power switch is on the right here, and then power LEDs, USB 2, right above this cord here, that's the USB 3, and then over there is my HHD audio. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and skip over this part of it for you guys because it's pretty easy. I'm going to plug in my SATA, so right here I got SATA, and it's going to plug into the back of your SSD, your HHD, through either these holes, this hole over here. But you're going to go ahead and plug those in, and then you're going to plug the power in. Now you're going to run your SATA data from the actual SSD all the way up through the back, and then it's going to come around and plug in. Where's my SATA? On this one, right here. So for me, my SATA is right here. So it's going to come, I'm going to run it through the back, and then right here, there's this hole. And I'm going to run it through and then plug all my SATA in there for each drive. So the two here, this one, and then the one on the bottom. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to run your 24-pin cable. So for me, it's going to come right through here. It's going to spin it around. Latch is on that side, yep, so. Alright, make sure it's plugged in there good and clicked all the way in. And boom, now your motherboard has power. Next, we're going to power the graphics card. So for me, I'm going to run that up through here. And out of this hole, right here. Come on. Alright. Plug these two in to the 8-pin there. I'm going to plug this one in right here. So that's plugged in. I'm going to just tuck that underneath because I don't need that. So boom. Now your GPU has power. Alright, so now your CPU still needs power. So I'm going to route my CPU from back here. Route that in. Just turn it around. And plug it in. Just like that. Boom. And now your CPU has power. Alright, now is when you take your SATA power cords. Mine has 3 SATA power slots per cord. And you're going to route that through and then attach it to all your memory drives. Now, once again, pretty self-explanatory, so I'm just going to go ahead and fast forward through that without really showing much. Alright, so now for the power supply, I have a magnetic dust collector on the bottom here, so I can place my fan down for intake. And all it is just plugging every cord in. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my motherboard, and plug that in. So the 24 pins right here. make sure they're seated. I'm gonna grab my CPU one, so this was my CPU up on the top. Gonna trace that through, plug the CPU in. This one is the graphics card. So your graphics card is also gonna plug in along with the CPU. And then all of these right here, these are all your peripheral and SATA. So I'm gonna grab a SATA, I'm gonna plug a SATA in there. And now I can put my power supply into the case. And I just have these little screws right here, little thumb screws. Doesn't want to quite line up. Alright, so now it's all screwed in. Alright, now so to power all those fans that I had, or the two fans that I put in, and I want LEDs on it, I'm gonna go and grab this right here. This is the Lightning Node Pro from Corsair, and you're just gonna plug this little link into it, and it comes with 3M adhesive on the back, so I'm just gonna adhere it to the back right there. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab, this is the fan header right here. So you can go ahead and you can plug your fans into it. So take this little link it up to your fans, go ahead, boom, now your fans are plugged in. I'm just gonna go and adhere it right there. Alright, so now they're linked, they speak to each other. I also bought, this is also some LED strips from Corsair right here. I'm gonna go ahead and route them from the top because I want them on the inside of the case. So I'm gonna route them through the top right here. Whoop. And then those are gonna go ahead and connect right here. All right. Now you can trace your fans that you want. So this is the fan, and this is another fan. Go ahead and find the part of the fan that's going to plug into the area right here. So for me, it's going to be these things right here. So fan 1, fan 2 up on the top. I want my fan 1 to be on the side right here, so I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. Boom, fan 1. Go ahead and find your fan 2 connector. And that's this one right here. And then boom. Plug fan 2 in. So now they're gonna need power. So right here, this is once again, it's like a SATA power connector. And I plugged an extra one in here, so I have 3 extra links. So I can go ahead and plug this into one of them. And then this also needs power. So I can go ahead and plug this into the other SATA connector. PowerPoint right there. Now these fans need a controller so they know what speed to spin. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to hook these into the front, and also the fans for my radiator as well. So I'm going to go plug all these fans in so they know how fast to spin. Alright, so now we're going to plug in the Nzxt right here. So what it's going to need first is you need to plug in, I don't even know what it's called. This plugs into the top right here. Alright. Move this out of the way. Alright, so if you can see right here, this is going to have to plug into a controller. And then these right here, this is going to be your power. And this is going to control the fans. So I'm going to run this out the back here. like that. I'll dress that up if I want. I can move it over here so it kind of like goes with the rest of the cords and then goes up and over. Actually, I might as well just run it out the back there. Yep, okay, so I decided I'm just gonna run it up and out right here. Alright, so that's what's going to control the fans. This needs to go to the back for power, so we're going to go ahead and plug it into one of those spare SATA power strips that I have in the back. Alright, got that plugged in. Alright. And now this right here, this is going to be the controller for the pump. So, I don't know if you can see it right here on my motherboard. Right here, I have an AIO pump controller. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna plug it in right there. Just gonna tuck this cord behind the heat spreader. I don't know how dangerous that is, but I've had it like this in the past and it worked out fine. So boom, everything's tucked away nice and neat. Like that, it looks good. Alright, so before we're done, we need to plug in right here. This is a little USB to control everything, so we're gonna go ahead and plug it into the top here. Boom. Okay, so that's plugged in. I'm gonna run it out of the top. And that needed one more USB, so on the bottom right here, I have one more external or extra USB. Oh, looks like my SATA came unplugged here. Let me plug that back in quick. Alright. So I'm gonna run this through everything. Come on. Running out of room here. Alright. So I'm gonna grab it and plug it in like so. Alright, so that's in. The Lightning Node Pro also does need a USB as well. So I have my last one, boom, right in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and run this in. Alright, so now we got that plugged in there. So it's gonna go Kraken X62, USB 3, Lightning Node Pro. Forgot what this one was. Just for the I/O. This one's for the I/O on the front. And you got your power LED, your power switch, and then your HHD LED. Alright, before I move to the back and wrap up all the cords, I'm gonna go ahead and put in my LED strips. Now, these ones have 3M adhesive on the back, but they're also magnetic. And my whole case frame is metal, so I'm just gonna go ahead and slide all these in. This one's a little hard right here with the fan on this side, but it all works out. Oh, I need to do this screw in a little more. There we go. Alright, so for this fan right here, we're going to go ahead and take the fan controller. We're just going to plug it in right there. We're also going to take this fan and then we're going to plug it into the bottom one right there. Alright. Now for the two fans that are on the front over here, all you gotta do is just find those. Now the Kraken X62 has fan controllers that come with it, so all we gotta do is just go ahead and take this and then plug all the fans that we want into it. Like so. Alright. And then take this. This is what we put in earlier. And just plug it in to the Lightning Node Pro, like that. Alright, now you could have tested this earlier, but we're gonna go ahead and test it. I plugged in the power source, I plugged in a display port, the keyboard, and the mouse. Now all we're gonna do is just make sure it turns on. So go ahead, just flip the switch on the back. The fact that all these little lights are coming on is good. And then just go ahead and give it the power switch. Everything should start up. And then you just want to make sure that your BIOS comes up onto your computer after that. Alright, so there we go. It booted. I got into my BIOS. I got all my boot drives right here. So I can go ahead into the boot menu, click my boot drive. Alright, so now I have a working computer. So you guys, if you did them all steps like I did, now you have a working system. I think it looks great. I might make a video on how to do the Lightning Node Pro 2, just like the color choices, especially with the Asus Aura Sync. Just all the different lighting patterns I can do. I've already talked about doing a video on like that like 6 months ago, but I might actually do it. I did notice one of these dim slots isn't quite lighting up yet, but with the Vengeance LED Corsair RAM, sometimes you need to change that from the actual Corsair 4, was it the Corsair Link? Corsair Link, you gotta go in there and change that stuff. So, like I said, there's still quite a bit more stuff to do besides installing like Windows and stuff like that to your BIOS. Well, not to your BIOS, to your system, and then getting all that set up. But yeah, I think it looks great. Leave a comment below, let me know what you guys think. Give this video a thumbs up. I really hope this helped everyone who's building a system similar to mine. It looks great. Like, I love this look on a computer with all the lights, the white. Otherwise, if you guys do have some questions, you can hit me up. I'm not the best. Some places that I want to send you guys to in the link below. I'll put the Linus Tech Tips forum. I'll also link Linus's channel, Bitwit's channel, Paul Hardware. These are the guys that I watched to help me build my system. So I hope this video helped you guys, but don't forget there are other resources. Obviously, there's better YouTubers. I started at 2:30. It's 5:30 right now, so it just took 3 hours. So it might take a little bit longer if you're watching a YouTube video, but it doesn't take too long. I hope a lot of you guys are inspired to go build a system now. Like I said, it's a lot of fun, and I hope this was helpful. I'm gonna get out of here. See you guys later. Bye.